There was a rumor that came up recently that, if true, can change the course of Warzone and perhaps fulfill something that the hardcore players, maybe that even being you or I, those types of players have been asking for years now at this point. That rumor being some kind of ranked mode being tested for Warzone before the launch of Modern Warfare 2, coming within the next couple of months here. So firstly, how valid is this? What's the likelihood of it happening, and how can we see it all go down if it does happen? We're going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video, so as we go along, drop your thoughts below. Would you guys like to see a ranked mode within Warzone? Whatever the case, feel free to let me know in the comments. But if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone, and anything Call of Duty related. We're on the road to 500,000 subscribers, so if you guys would like to stay in the loop with all of it, I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, a reminder to check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage for the best blue light glasses on the market, but more on them in just a bit. For now, let's talk about this rumor of ranked play potentially coming to Warzone and the Warzone 1 experience that we have right now. First, why is a ranked mode important? Why do we even need to discuss this? Well, there's probably a bunch of different reasons you could come up with, but right now, many people are feeling like a ranked mode should absolutely be in Warzone. From the matchmaking, they feel their lobbies could be too sweaty, to solidifying some competitive integrity so that people aren't playing absolute bot lobbies. Whatever way you want to skin it, you absolutely have probably a valid reason. To me, especially with the matchmaking systems as the last couple of years, it would give something tangible to actually grind for, something that would be a genuine rank that's on display, not something that is just sort of metadata hidden in the background of a matchmaking algorithm associated with your account. Instead, it can be something visibly saying, hey, I belong amongst these players. To me, it distinguishes an accomplishment here. It makes sweating worth it to some degree. Whereas in unranked pub matches, where the skill-based matchmaking or retention-based matchmaking doesn't really give you at the end of the day by comparison, it would be something that makes that somewhat worth it. Now, if you agree, the initial report here coming from the Ghost of Hope, a leaker out there in the community, this would give you a little bit of optimism here, potentially, that we could see this coming. He ended up stating, ranked mode for current Warzone is coming before Modern Warfare 2 releases. It will not be a full-fledged rank mode, but will instead be the blueprint for how they're going to use it in Warzone 2. It will be released on current Warzone for testing purposes, Caldera only. Doesn't look like it'll be released for Fortune's Keep or Rebirth Island, which sounds really great if you ask me. I think a ranked mode, again, is long overdue here when it comes to Warzone, but oppositely and unfortunately, Modern Warzone, another news source, stated, hearing that the rumors of a ranked mode coming to Warzone 1 before the release of Modern Warfare 2 are not true. So, which one's accurate? To be totally blunt with you, I have no idea. There is nothing that really points one way or the other. Hope's information has checked out in the past, but I also know Doug and some of the connections he has in which he could definitely verify that or do what he does here and say that's not what he's heard. Honestly, I think it could be as much of a 50-50 split as it sounds. I do think that it's possible, but it might not necessarily be exactly what we hope for or expect, really. We've touched on it before, how Raven has tested out some major additions to the game well ahead of their introductions in the form of LTMs or sort of trial runs for these fundamental changes. I mean, when you take a look at some of the biggest stuff in the past year or so, the loadout change when Caldera was first introduced, where you couldn't buy a loadout drop until that free loadout event, that was something that was tested back in the Operation Flashback LTM in the final days of Verdansk. The health change that we saw going to 300 HP across the board, that was first tried out within Caldera. If you want to go a little bit further, that was actually, I think, 350 or 400 in Iron Trials debuted again in the Verdansk days, and then that 300 HP finally came to Rebirth Island and Fortune's Keep. The lootable perks that we have now started on Caldera and then came later to the Resurgence maps, and the trade stations started on Rebirth and came later to Caldera. There's that rumor that the AI in Season 2 of Caldera and now with Fortune's Keep in Season 4 here, those mercenary events, that's something that's rumored to be the testing grounds of how AI works in Warzone, which, if we take what we discussed yesterday, Grunts and DMZ, the AI there, it seems likely as well. And the one thing that I think is still coming is that map rotation further down the road is being first tested here in a couple of weeks here. Week 5 of Warzone Season 4 is when we see a daily rotation between Fortune's Keep and Rebirth Island. So with so many major adjustments previewed in one spot and fully implemented later, only taking a look at like the last 10 months or so, I really wouldn't be surprised that if in some capacity we see a ranked mode preview. Again, it might not necessarily be exactly what we're expecting. I mean, Hope stated it will not be a full-fledged mode, but will be the blueprint for it going forward, which is something we could see maybe just on a smaller scale. Maybe it's just something like an LTM, how we saw Iron Trials introduced, where it increased the health. It ended up changing buy station options and costs. Loadout drop events were changed. If I'm not mistaken, I think there were a couple of things that were banned in terms of item use, but it's very possible we could see something just like that, a more smaller scale, not really full introduction where you see a ranked ladder or anything like that. Honestly, it could be just something as simple as Iron Trials Endurance, a mode that has no details listed for it, but that is coming in mid-season here within Season 4. I know a lot of people are gravitating towards that, putting their thinking caps on when talking about this rumor, but I don't quite know that that would be it. With Hope's reference to this, it kind of sounds like it's still a ways off, like Season 5 or Season 5 Reloaded, not just something coming in 2 to 3 weeks. But I mean, I guess we'll see. I feel like if it was Iron Trials Endurance, though, we would have heard a little bit more about that leak out by now. But unless we're talking about an LTM similar to Iron Trials and a more competitive LTM in that regard, what I think is likely going to be the case, we're still going to see this come around the Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 experiences. Honestly, it might even be something that released as a sort of ranked update where we get ranked play within Modern Warfare 2, rumored to be coming shortly thereafter the launch of Modern Warfare 2 and not at launch. So maybe it's something that launches like that, where Warzone and Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer gets its ranked experiences. But honestly, that then gives more time to fully develop and build out the either mode or entire competitive experience, and that's something that rings true back for a few seasons now at this point. Each season and Reloaded update, Raven's kind of reached out to a few creators and some press to talk about the upcoming changes. Usually it's no more than what you'll see in the sort of reveal blog posts, minus maybe a few things that deviate thanks to small Q&A sessions that we have. But one topic that was brought up in that Q&A session in, I think, like Season 3, the briefing that we had here for that, one thing was the ranked mode experience, in which Ted Timmons addressed this, saying that it's possible that it could change, but Raven always wanted a ranked mode, but they wanted to build it out, get it perfect before it was actually revealed and then released. But there was no timetable on the horizon for it, and with the Warzone 1 experience coming to a close, with Warzone 2 coming out later this year, it was kind of alluding to it not coming with Warzone 1. But then that brings us back to the start of the circle here in that journey. While I'm not expecting a full ranked mode beta type of thing with a full-on ladder system, matchmaking differences and all, things like specific item bans, gameplay adjustments like no free loadout drop or something like that, they absolutely could happen, and I definitely think that it could be built into a variation of a ranked mode. But a full-fledged ranking system, full-fledged ranked mode, I don't think that I'm expecting that until Warzone 2, and I don't think we'll see too much of a preview up until that point. One thing that kind of does give me hope, though, when we think about this and the coming Warzone 2 experience with it, if it is going to be coming, is that we should then, by theory, see different matchmaking systems. If we have a true skill-based matchmaking system, something players can grind out and then are encouraged to do so, whether that be by using cool ladder rewards to entice players to jump in or whatever the case, that means that we should see different matchmaking systems where pubs can just be genuinely public matches to a degree. You're not going to see, hopefully, as much sweat or something like that. Coming back to Ralph's initial report that matchmaking will be less debilitating. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it all breaks down. But an interesting rumor that popped up here in the Warzone sort of side of the discussion, there really hasn't been much in that Warzone side of the discussion recently, so it was nice to see this come up and potentially theorize what could happen. So that said, I wanted to get your thoughts and feedback down in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this here? Before we wrap the video, though, a reminder to check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage. Again, we've talked about them so long now on the channel, and I still will swear by them. If you're working at a PC, looking at a screen of any kind for prolonged periods of time a day, you may already know the effects of blue light. Eye strain, fatigue, all of that. It sucks. I deal with it on a daily basis, but Gamer Advantage has absolutely become that head and shoulders advantage that I end up having in my day-to-day. Working at my desk in my PC for like 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, Gamer Advantage has changed my life in a sense, not even exaggerating. They're absolutely the best on the market here, the most comfortable, durable, and lightweight frames that you can find out there. And yes, they will be more expensive than the $15 pair on Amazon, but you'll absolutely get the results that you want instead of just some placebo pair off Amazon. Their website does such a better job of explaining the science and all the breakdown here for it, for the clinically proven portion of it. So if you guys would like to learn more, check the link in the description below. And if you want to pick something up, use code Espresso for 10% off your entire order. But that said, that's what we're going to call it. So if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing running all things Warzone, Modern Warfare 2, and anything COD related. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.